跟问讯。我们合掌恭诵，传承法脉心相系，弘扬中门志不移。慈济因缘会珍惜，尽思法随无量意。敬爱的上人、金色师父、所有线上的家人，大家好！让我们嘴角上扬，举起右手，非常有能量的跟上方圆一起来，行，进 ，Go Go Go， 做。读书文法，读书文法。
Hello everyone. This is Liang Liu translating for you for the Kaohsiung Online Study Group.
你在念这个的时候，有没有嘴角上扬，让自己的能量昂扬？还是觉得每个星期都是要念一样的，不会有每一次都要提振自己？我们老师攻读的是纳履足迹，感恩上人跟本会给我们祝福，传法随，续人才。我们期许自己精进不懈怠。但是我们要打招呼了，两字一拍，无论你是不是戴着口罩，都要非常有能量，一起来传法随，续人才，连线读书，一起来，大家好！你看，大家好，心情也开了。可是你挥手的当下，赶快做一件事，按赞转分享，让更多的好朋友，并且呢，请留言，让我们知道您是来自哪里的好朋友。在我们的讲师开始的时候，就麻烦更是帮我们对讲师的这个部分给予。
So for the lecture today,
你们是传法人，要好好传好法。那所以要从上人心目中的理想人才来开始。
Sister Mei saying that the talent that Master had in mind was that is a modest but not arrogant, pure with self-respect, cultivation, and virtue. Always hold selfless love and treat everyone equally. I wish everyone become an ideal talent in Master's eyes.
好，那现在请大家呢把手放在我们的心坎上。
Put your heart, your hand around your heart.
理想人才，一起来。上人请安心，我是您心目中的理想人才。
Master, be relieved. I'm your ideal disciple.
我们非常感恩
You cannot sit down if you.
做了很久，但是这一次呢，我们回去跟上人温馨座谈的时候，上人就提醒团队哦，一个一个导播，请你要 take 我的小画面。
This time when we talk to Master,
看着团队啊，然后一个一个这样子分享。上人啊，我坐在上人旁边，上人就这样子说，他说：“你们这样子做，让我很安心。”
Saying that I'm very relieved seeing what you guys are doing.
所以喊着有哦，就会往那个方向走，让自己更好。所以呢
，So we need to keep improving ourselves.
跟着一周，上人做一天，我们老师攻读一天哈。嘿，接下来这就是
So the next
10年前，应该10年以前写下来的哈。所以就是读书会往这个方向，所以熟悉的人一起来吧，相互激励说慈济，相约文法新笃定，相信自己有潜力，永葆初心，正精进呀，正精进。你到底嘴角
？Here that we need to mutually encourage to talking about Tzu spirit and value, unwaveringly listen to the Dharma teachings. Believe that we all have the potential and diligently to maintain our initial aspirations.
感恩上人4月25给我们这样的祝福，天空读书会我们开始。那大家看到这个是第一次看到，对不对？
Now you see, you know what this is? It's the different language we now translate.
一个是德语、葡萄牙语以及我们的荷兰。
We have Chinese, Japanese, Indonesian, Spanish, French, Cambodia, English, Thai. So we have many different languages now, more than 10, right? And this is another initiative that suggested by Master when we talked to Master a few days ago, that we don't only translate, interpret mutually at the same time during the study group, but also we turn that into some writing articles, summaries, so that more people can be exposed to the story, to the sharings, to the learnings together. So we now need also a translation, written translation talent to help us this. You don't have to be perfect. We just need to get started. Then we keep improving ourselves, then we will be perfect, right? So join us if you or your friend knows how to translate from Chinese to whatever languages. So do let us know. So other than interpretation, we need the translation. So since November 1st, we spread out the message, 上人's encouragement. You know that only within the last few days, we now have 10 written language translations team formed. But we still need more talent to join us to spread the load.
你看今天的导读人还没有上线导读，但是这个逐字稿已经出来，我非常感恩我们的导读人。You see, there's next we will have a study group of masters footprints, right? And then they have their speech in writing already, so that people who will be translating, they can start translating this one. So we just saw the Chinese one, and this one is in Japanese. And we will have Spanish. So we have already decided to have another totally 10 languages. So in the future, you may not have the time to listen to or some time conflict. You can still listen or reading their stories, what they share. Now you see how many languages this is. I think it's 11 languages already. Italian, Laos, Malaysian, Thai, English, Cambodian, Arabic, French, Spanish, and Japanese. Sister Mei was sharing a story about an interpreter that after translating simultaneously later that she was able to read the written one and got some inspiration from the written translation. So both are very important, and that's what we met Shangren a few days ago. Masters suggestions to us.
and they translate into Cambodian language, and then she shared with a employee in her company who married to Taiwan, and then share them with the written the translation, and that also inspired the employee. So it's very important. So you don't have to be perfect, experienced to join us. You just join us, and then we will learn together and grow together, and gradually we will be perfect. Yeah, when you start undertaking something, that you will put effort there, and then you will grow and learn, and then become better and better.
因为没在用，可是现在有个机会了，把能力找回来。就算他翻的一开始不成熟，我们每一个组队都有高人，都可以帮他校对，一次一次他会越来越好。所以
So the translation is good because we have someone with more experience in translating the text, and then they will help you improve over time.
非常慈悲，所以当他们比喻在跟我讲说，老师，我们要找那个已经很熟悉的，还是说
when they said that it's hard to find experienced translator, no, we don't need that.
我们再次给我们的比喻10个语言特别的掌声。
That's give them a big plus that they have already 10 teams formed for 10 languages. And here is the team which is translating, interpreting for us. And this is the Japanese team. And this is Cantonese team.
他们不是英语口译吗？对，之后会有马来语哦，他们又是马来语口译，厉害了吧？可是如果你星期六有听
some of them are in quite a few teams, like in Malay, and they can speak Malay, and they can speak also Cantonese, and they also translate in English. So.
然后呢，去推述，去说词句，你知道吗？我有多么与有荣焉，因为他就是我们的英语口译团队，小青、瑞山、丽丽、玉美，还有更多。
They are so diligent.
一起在马来西亚做这件事，我就问他们说：“请问这件事做很久了吗？跟读书会有关系吗？”他说：“老师，有关系哦。”因为我们常常上线这个读书会，听了很多人的分享，于是乎我们觉得，哎，对，我们应该看看人家怎么推广，有样学样。
That's what they share about their push to promote vegetarianism together. So it's a really an awesome team.
我每次听到的时候，我都与有荣焉，都说天哪！我就说
I feel so honored to have them in our team.
我觉得啊，慧玲说得好，上人在这一次这一次温馨座谈，他写的题目是永远把我牵着。上人其实不，我们都以为我们是要帮忙传法，错了。上人用一个方便的法门牵着我们的手，怕我们走丢，一直给我们方便法门。好。那这边
this is Hui Ling. Hui Ling, she was also attending the talk with Shangren, and this is the one she shared about her learning.
听听看，然后突然发现好顺利哦，好好听哦。
And she shared about that Sangren actually keep us in her heart. So I use different kind of method or ways that to keep us around. And this is Yumei.
所以跟每个礼拜三每一个主题的一个分享，都是让他觉得说，在百忙当中，这些人都是这么忙的大菩萨，竟然可以来，而且他觉得单元之丰富啊，所以让他在这边获益良多。那尤其这里他特别提到的就是学艺师姐的那一位师兄刘邦周师兄的时候，他的生命转捩点让他非常的感动。
Earlier sharing by Brother Liu Bangzhou.
放弃这样的一个读书会，跟我们紧密的连续。这里他也讲到说，他星期六的时候，每个周末早上在跟花莲的英文读书会连线以后。最初他们只是少许的几个人，可是现在目前他们已经增加到30到70个人，他就是复制高雄线上读书会的一个做法，这样子一起来动吼，所以我们真的非常感恩他们给我们这样的一个好回应善效益。所以上次说以团体做事则永恒，一个人做事则无常，大家一起来，个个是人才。今天要认识我们的什么团队？噔噔噔。
Okay, this is our editor team. Totally 15 people.
台北的春秋、板桥的燕平、新竹的韵玉、新竹的维瑜以及台中的秀女。
You see that, and there are so many people doing the editing for us before we see the article, the sharing.
心灵、泰国的锦淑以及意大利的汤美快师姐哈，所以本来我们这个团队就是跨区跨国哈，所以每天在做的是如何维持同样的专注与好的态度，那我们就会成为这一行的专业人士。本来不会，学了就会，样样学会，增长智慧哈。因为时间关系哈，我这个很快就看过去，非常感恩我们的石家庄的李领导每一次这样子鼓励大家上线。我们带领师姐在这边，我们的内蒙赤峰恩利师姐呢，她就说带领师姐一念心，耕耘南非菩提林，一代健康
This is Sister Dai Ling. She shared about Mozambique last time.
泰国的慈管师姐，她感恩带领带着我们见证正在翻转的。
Yeah, it was very touching that our project in Mozambique now is the school is just background. And then this is feedback to the sister Hui Miao sharing about the master's footprints. And it was very touching. And another feedback to our doctor in Daling, Xu Shuojun. She talked about a new way in treating different kind of cancer, more related to female. 所以你的留言真的对讲师非常的重要哦。所以梅兰说，心灵芬芳君硕医师分享的很详细，太棒了。Yeah, it was a wonderful talk. If you are interested, you can see the replay. We archive the replay in Facebook and also in the YouTube as well. And do let us know that if you need the link. And this is the feedback that to Brother Deng Xian. 那他自己呢，已经收到好几版不同语言的翻译。到早上，他说他真的是
心里就觉得这个团队真是太有能量了哈。好 ，Many Ten 哈，他说现场妈妈的呼唤，给力加油，他觉得很好。也谢谢星云，你说有你们真好，我们一起加油挺过去哈。那在这边呢，蔡美惠就说听着听着，不禁红了眼眶。11554的爱，一位机组人员1年365天的日子，为了大家跨国的便利，1年中有1/3的时间要面对隔离与家人的隔空思念，3心2意的修炼，伟大的人生。
This about Father Dengxian's sharing. It's very touching about because he's a pilot in international airlines, and so a lot of the sharing let us see the hardship they endure during the pandemic for all of us.
你看他说听起来子宫肌瘤好像没那么可怕了，感恩许医师详尽的解说。
And this feedback from China, Canada.
掌声感恩来自大陆的留言，谢谢你们，我们真的很需要，只要你告诉我们。
Yeah, we will need your feedback so we know how our program actually being useful to you. So just share a few comments and that will be greatly appreciated. And this is some feedback from Malaysia and also from other countries as well. Okay, we have a lot of feedback from Taiwan as well. Oh, some English feedback, so that you can also feedback in English. Just right under the YouTube link.
上个星期他写英文，他会写英文，当然咯，很厉害的国际学校的校长。他说 ，In this team, everyone is actively working hard to move forward, and everyone's contribution is very happy. 他讲说，在这个团队里面呢，其实每个人活动力都很强，一直要往前往前。
This is sharing from Jenna Yang. He was saying that in this team, everybody is actively working hard to move forward, and everyone's contribution is very happy.
就好像今天他再次问候大家，他说 Sister 蔡带领 is really full of love motivating Mozambique and the good role model in helping.
And again, this is about Sister Dennis Tsai. She is the director of the Zhicheng Mozambique.
谢谢我们的 Effie， 他讲到一点，他说 Yes, the volunteer
and some other feedback from YouTube.
In promoting recycling in her communities, always inspiring as immerse themselves in protecting the environment. 他讲到的是大陆的家人，真的让我们很感动，他们非常热心，而且提倡有关于就是环保。
This is a feedback related to our sister in mainland China shared about environmental protection efforts.
谢谢你常上线留言，可是我们可以拜托你一件事吗？就是请你写的是小写，我看起来会比较清楚。第二个，可能请你留言要对于读书会的，因为有时候你的留言是没有关于读书会的，但是你说了一些你的想法，也非常感恩您哈。好，那接下来我们来看一下喽。
Now we have some cartoon.
大家看到了没有？这些不是很像。
This is from a sister in Malaysia.
真是大开心！你看，他把夜灯线画
basically summarize through the
所以掌声给我们的阮诗怡。
some joy and then some highlights.
到哪里去了？来，今天带你们到土耳其，所以我们先来看这个跟他有什么关系呢？
感恩是智慧，付出是慈悲。
Thank you. He is actually speaking Mandarin at the beginning. Yeah, but those two sentences are very important, actually. This should come from Brother Yu, who is the sharer today. Brother Yu is the median team of the Turkish team. So this one is actually a Brother Yu's disciple. So we will call out to a Brother Yu in Turkey. Yeah, so it is very important for this 3-in-1 team. The media team is very important to give us the stories about the truths that we are doing. So that all our story of Chiji can be spread around the world. So they train more people to do this job. So all the Syrian refugees also become our volunteers. Like this one, Ali, this one, Muhammad is the volunteer, the media volunteer. And Saeed, 29 years old, he is our staff. So these 3 people are all refugees, but now they become a very powerful volunteer in Turkey. They even went to the Lebanon to do the distribution. We can see that Brother Yi is actually traveling in the car when they do the video conference. So that's call out. That's call out. We like to be together with you because you have positive energy. Hi, Brother Yu. Handsome. Please go ahead. We can hear you. Okay. Okay, we can hear you now. Yes, yes. Dear family, here for the pandemic, for the last pandemic, almost 2 years, I want to tell everyone about how these refugees in Syria, how they do their job in Shijing. Last time when we found the first confirmed case in Taiwan, every one of them are worried about us a lot. So they pray for us a lot to wish for everybody is safe. And they try to do the fundraising to buy the mask for Taiwan. Yeah, when they bought it, it was very expensive.
So in local in Istanbul, the mosque was not very sufficient. So 52 of our parents from the school, they are experienced, so they have experience in sewing. So they came after work to our office to discuss with Brother Guangzong and the Sister Ruibi every night about from 8 to 11:30 to make the cross mask. So our pandemic is actually very severe here. So everything was locked down. All the students must stay home. But we still need to do the monthly distribution. So all the volunteers, they know the dangers of the pandemic, but they still try to complete the distribution. And the cloth mask, they also make it for the local Taiwanese folks, even the students' family and Turkish friends also. As long as they have changed, Chuma, Brother Chuma, the principal, the professor actually try to pray for everyone to have a peaceful period in the pandemic. So after they watch the movie of the pandemic, yeah, they feel very sad and they wish that everyone can be safe. Master said this is a great education, so we have to promote the vegetarian. Yeah, so all these volunteers are Muslim, so they would also promote the vegetarian as Master's wish. So they have a vegetable day for the kids to promote the vegetarian. So the teachers will ask the children to find the information for themselves on the internet. And they Google the Chinese themselves. So it's actually about it's Zhiqi, but they translate it into Zhugi. So this is the teachers that they made themselves. They made the poster themselves. And they also cook many vegetarian food. It's very healthy too. Sorry, we only have 2 more minutes. Okay, this is my disciple, Muhammad. Yes, they actually went to Lebanon to do the distribution for the first time. And this is his picture compared to 2 years ago when he just left home. So he is the one that in charge of the stream one in the Lebanon distribution. Yeah, and the refugees also concerned about the Philippines typhoon, so they donate a lot of money. And they also know that Taiwan is actually trying to buy the vaccine, so they also donate their money to repay our kindness with kindness. They said that they cannot ever repay us because of our company. Yeah, children are actually very touched by our bamboo bank era. So everyone is actually depositing their money. So we can see how their donation. They lose everything. They lose their home, but they still can concern about others. So they donate total 16,000 coins. Thank you. I have only so little time to say so many things. Let's give him applause. He is actually the 3-in-1 team in charge of everything in the back. Brother Yi, we have another chance to talk to you.
我们还有机会的，志成没有问题哈。那这边呢，我们的四国师兄就说人间有爱哈，在桃园的四国师兄，我们在美国的北加，现在在台北的 Victor， 他就说
Brother J praise Brother Yu, say he is doing many good jobs.
真是我们志工的好榜样，掌声热烈一下。对，那么同时间呢，志成，我跟你讲哦，就是。 包括于志成，还有包括我们的如意师姐跟胡光中师兄。
Besides Brother Yu, Brother Guang Zhong and Sister Rui, they all joined our Lotus project.
一些难民也加入，总共哦，就是他于志成他们的不算，就是那一些难民他们。
We have to say that all the refugees also donate 57 Lotus for us.
当他们知道我们要共善这样新年的时候，他们捐助疫苗，同时
Thank you.
加入我们的
Thank you for all the volunteers in Turkey.
所以我们再次感恩我们所有土耳其的志工，而今天跟我们
and especially the 3-in-1 team. Thank you so much.
真善美，有就是我们的志成师兄，我们
Bye bye. We will see you again.
请按赞转分享
Very soon.
我们很快就会把时间点给您了哈。好，感恩。 那么这边呢，北加州的 Linda Pen， 谢谢你。你说你正在看 is watching。实际说把握分秒的鱼。
We have a message from the California Linda.
那实际也说台北阿嬷说今天美云主持人说话比较慢。
She's saying doesn't matter wherever the brother go, he always able to cultivate the fortunate land for the locals.
对不起好，山东威海的王慧说，美云老师的英语怎么如此流利？难道退休前是在学校里做英语教师吗？让我真是好。
Got a message from Shandong, China. She's very surprised at Sister Mei Yun's English. She's thinking that before her retirement, maybe her subject is teaching English. Her English is very fluent.
我们在北一的秀桥师姐，万妙的承德在纽约，谢谢你。好，这边呢，王慧就说
Got a message from New York. Thank you.
是越来越强大了。这一年，我积极的参与了高雄线上读书会，认识了很多慈济家人中的人品典范。
And this viewer is surprised how big this translation team has become.
把威海慈济停挂了1年多的读书会重新启动，也希望我们能像高雄线上读书会上
And because of this online book club, this viewer is able to start the local book club again. All because of this viewer has been watching this every week.
梅兰师姐，谢谢你哦，但是你一直没有告诉我你是哪边的家人哈。石江庄的李平，周三读书开始的线上。
We have another sister. Her name is Meilan. She never tell me where she's from, and I'm very curious. So, please, if you do leave a message on the message board, please let me know where you're from, so I can call it out.
有心就不难，语言学了没有用，就真的可能忘得一干二净。透过这个读书会，也能学到更多语言，真棒！空中读书会，云端多国传上法。所以各位，再想想看，
Another viewer left this message that because of this book club, this viewer is actually learning different kind of language, not just English or Chinese, also other languages too.
就会呱呱叫，吓吓叫，一起来为上人传法脉哈。好，嘉义的春华，谢谢你。好
，And we are doing this for the Master Zhen Yan. Let's do her teaching and let's spread her teaching.
团队的陪伴哈。好，那在这边呢，阮思怡，谢谢你，问候大家好。金慧，你是在哪边的好朋友？南比尔，加拿大，线上读书，一起来相约文法新笃定。
I believe we have a message from Vietnam and also Canada.
就是大家一起携手并肩，把能量发挥到高雄线上读书的这个共善的天地，我们非常感恩哦。我们
Sister Shijing, she always leave message every Wednesday for us.
也一直帮我们在传送，我们掌声感恩。
She's talking about spread the good energy.
广播的家人好不好？掌声感恩我们的转播团队在大陆那个地方哈。好，长春的刘春枝也习惯一直用
I have to thank our families in China. Thank you for all their hard work.
又相聚，感恩高雄线上读书会传法水，把人才续哈。哇，天气急冻哈，我们都可以听到这样的一个讯息哈。好的，非常台南的基友以及阿七雾，好，问候大家。慈管在桃园的杨梅，那么约晃在主场 ，Victor， 还有
more message from Taiwan,
我就不太会
the
念
different cities from Taiwan.
法文吗 ？So far， 我不知道，你没有讲那个哈，但是我们
This one looks like this from France, but I'm not so sure about it.
线上读书会团队广传佛法、见闻慈济历史、无远佛界，谢谢。好，春子在马来西亚。
Another thank you message
锦淑在泰国曼谷，绿玉
saying how thankful this book club is spreading all the good Dharma.
加拿大岁末盘点，云端随时进行，相互激励，日日文法。哦，对了，现在也是上人行讲。
Oh, another one from Canada.
万一你的好朋友
As you can see, we receive messages from all over the world. It's not just Taiwan only. And let's look at this. We've been accumulate 35,852 lotus through this fundraise. It's over every week. We are breaking the records.
那我们真的是一切的美好皆源于
These are
感恩的心
graphic
感恩生命中所有的
they've been
相遇
making
可以没有权利，但要有影响力。
some inspirational cards.
来看一下这些人，也请我们导读人请准备咯。
Let's look at
我们
these
叶登宪师兄他就讲到
flyers.
说，盘点生命三心二意，他非常感恩，每次来到高雄线上读书会这个平台，都是满心的感动，满满的一个正能量。他想
This is
幸
from
福
Brother
到底是什么？
Yeden.
就是心好，
Very
心满
thankful
足，
that every
正能量
time
来
he
分
come
享
to
生
the
命的
book
一个
club,
价值哈。那也因为
able
他的一
to
个
share
分
his
享的
positive
正能量，
energy
刚
with
好就是
others.
处在于一个疫情的一个状况下，所以他有很深刻的感受。这一段时间就很用心的恭听上人的开示，找出了上人的
And during this pandemic time,
的一个祝
he
福。
couldn't go out.
心就是戒
Therefore,
心
he
修行
spending most of his time learning to learn master's teaching, read her book, and he's hoping that he can always thinking of the good thoughts. Appreciative that he's receiving a lot of blessing from others. We want to thank everybody for sending him the blessing. Because this brother, he's a pilot, and he was able to there's a lot of pressure by flying the airplane because there's so many people on board. The reader that heard his speech was very inspired by his motivation. By listening to his sharing, she was able to know the true feeling. I have another sister, she's saving in this group. She was able to learn a lot from each other. She feels that her wisdom is growing each time she participates. She was able to move on with others. Now we're come to the daily journal of Dharma Master. Let's give him applause. Dear Master, Master above, and family member all over the world. Hi everyone. My name is Zicheng Sen. My Dharma title is Xingqian. Today I want to share the year 2021 Daily Journal of Dharma Master Zhenyan Spring Edition. And here in Blessing Tour around Taiwan was fully completed. The title of this one is called The Year in Blessing Tour Around Taiwan. Volunteers all over the world follow the masters to promote the compassion to the world. Here, the master will travel around Taiwan to thank volunteers. And during this 2020 year in blessing, Master traveled north first from November 5th to December 6th, and then travel south for the second tour from January 6th to February 2nd. The tour totals 60 days. Let's look at this film. For 2020, I went on tour twice. During the year-end blessing, the volunteer look for the most is receiving the blessing wisdom red envelope, which is called the Fuhui red envelope. How did this red envelope come from? Let's look at it. The origin of red envelope begins in 1969, when the Tzu Chi invited family to Jingsi Abode for a New Year dinner. Every year before the New Year, Tzu Chi family, we need many months preparing all the stuff that's going to give out to people that the origin of red envelope begins in 1969. So it's been over 50 years already. Started when we invite family to Jingsi Abode for the New Year get together. And how did the funding of the red envelope come from? I'll show you this clip. It is the intellectual property of the master. And it is definitely not from donation, nor is it the money of the foundation. And it is not the money come from the environmental recycling. The source of funding for red envelope is royalty from master's book. We have more and more Tzu Chi family, and the master wanted to allow all Tzu Chi people to receive red envelope at the end of the year. Therefore, master worked hard on writing books. So if the funds are not enough, the resident master of the abode will come to completion together. So the Fuhui red envelope, everything, the funding is from the Tzu Chi master. Let's look at how to make it. The making of the red envelope. And you see, this is during the early days. The master personally participated in the production of red envelope. And she has a very strict quality control. In the early days, master would make the red envelope along with others, volunteers. So besides the master, other master of the above will also come and work with the volunteers. Therefore, every year I always take several months to prepare for the year-end blessing celebration. So in 2020, the Master Year-end Blessing were held for a total of 48 sessions, with a total of 86,000 participants. At the same time, 340 talks were held with 121,000 participants. There were 156,000 online participants streaming Master's talk. So the Master is very grateful to the Tzu people. She say, every Tzu volunteer is doing my teaching. Make a wish to spread my teaching to people around the world. This is spreading the Dharma. They also talk about my teaching. The scripture are interpreted. The Dharma enters the heart, and the movement are neat. Passing on the teaching of the Dharma, passing on the teaching that Master wants to pass on. It mentioned about the lotus flower. Means each lotus flower represents a local book club.
好，非常的感恩哈。其实，好，我们非常感恩我们的师兄哈。其实这样的一个精准的一个导读，就是只有10分钟。可是，在这个10分钟里面呢，其实带给我们就是这一周里面他认为最重要的一个进度条，然后perfectly 10 minutes。我们已经传到1个 Telegram、7个微信、18个 Line。
At the same time, all this information has been shared on lines, telegrams, and other social media platforms.
那其实要去做整理，非常感恩我们的导读人哈，棒棒一个接力，经过8年的时间，当然有新加入的伙伴，可是借由观摩学习，每一个人越来越精准到位哈。我们再次掌声感恩我们的导读人。
It's been 8 years since we have this
一句话就常常跟所有的团队讲，你不需要很厉害才开始，但是
daily journal
才会怎么样
reading.
很厉害。那我回到这边回应我们的
Even though you're not familiar at the beginning, but the more you're doing it, the more fluent and better you're at.
真是太不可思议！我跟你讲，泰国的锦书也是帮助我们很大。他现在担任的是我们的文编导读，即将会跨区导读，这是我们的一个实验。另外呢，就是我们现在
We have a sister from Thailand. She's been helping out a lot. She's doing not just the graphic, but also the online reading.
好好写顺口溜，还四海发出邀请帖，呼吁大家快上线来。他是揪团的好手，我们超需要的，帮我们推播、按赞、转分享，并且留言，已经好几个
We
人
really
上
need
线分享
people who
留言
can
留言
share
哈，
our
给我们的
program
讲师分享嘉宾的鼓励。
to friends and
再次加入
family.
沈雪梅、杨建斌、余春香、王金平、明祥，谢谢你们哦。好，然后在这边呢，我们看到了哈，就是慧妙师姐，慧妙是上一周的导读人，她说于志成师兄的八角印、土耳其足迹真善美，海外相亲系台湾。
I have another sister. She was the Daily Journal reading interpreter last week. She also leave a message here.
按赞、转分享，加上留言哈。那非常感恩我们的秀女师姐以及管心凌师姐在加拿大哈。您说做起志工用教育带给孩子智慧、爱和希望，爱亡则爱返，以善回报善。慈管师姐说，感恩于师兄用爱接引，将慈济4打8法散播异地，真是大菩萨。好。所以您看到，即便我们稍微呢留言一下，都带给我们很多的一个感动哈。这边讲长春的留春之后，
even if it's just a short message,
我们这里正是北国风光，
it really touches our heart, and we need to hear from you. So please like and share this program.
琉璃透体，天空飘落的是般若花。天哪，你写成这样，我们主场都飘花起来，下雪起来哈。
We have another viewer who left the poetic message. It's so beautiful.
下一个单元是线上重点顺口溜温馨回顾周周寿。我们呢5位的美国团队、大陆团队以及加拿大团队。那今天我讲到就是我们一开始2014年
also have a recap from last week.
时候觉得说。为什么一个人做慈济20几年依然有活力十足？于是乎对我好奇，2015年他来到主场，那但是在这之前，2014年的11月底，所以上人说记录时间很重要。记录时间里面，我们看到他写的能说能唱能带动，有心有情有热忱，云端线上喜相逢，相约读书心笃定，菩萨分享传心声，良师传法心愿成，这是他第一次写的。可是他说他真的没有想到，我这么一写的时候，他说他这么一写传给我，我几乎是秒回他，
part of the team that's doing the recap program. And when the first time she wrote it, it just came out so nicely. She was very surprised she can write something like this.
而且那时候还不是直播，他用各种方式来想办法，我们还录音给他，他用 Vivint 下载。可是他每一次从新泽西到他家很长的路段，除了上人开示，我们的读书会他要听3次。为什么？因为他要写顺口溜。可是长期下来，他得到很大的能量，他很感恩。
She lived in New Jersey, and it's kind of hard back then to look at those online programs. So she has to look at the book club video 3 times in order to write something nicely and beautifully. And this is the recap from Canada.
各位，您看，您看，就知道。如果您上个礼拜的没有在的话，你从这边大概知道。那我们看到大陆这边山东威海的晚会，谢谢你。莫桑比克蔡带领用爱点亮众人心，和筹建大爱。
And last week we have speaker who's living in Africa.
中门菩萨道，有志一同爱延续。大林慈院许君硕肌瘤治疗有心招，耐心赢得。
And a doctor from Daling
医疗情
Hospital.
师姐在吉林勇猛精进去付出，坚定不移勤行道。
Also talk about sister at Jilin, China.
夜灯线，疫情修炼在当下。
And the captain that we talked earlier.
棒棒接力说慈济，子方佩珍分享好，坚定不移跟上人，把握付出造福缘。这是大陆的晚会。接下来，美国不但写顺口溜，还要写英文重点摘要。我们和着节奏一起来。莫桑比克蔡带领分享普拉大爱村起建典礼新出发，邻居社区爱无界，导读菩萨。
And we mentioned about this sister earlier that it used to take her long time to come up with this kind of recap, but she was able to do it very fast now.
一起时，环保推速曾带动疫情修炼夜灯线，机长有感自盘点，三心二意曾在行，修行练心兼养心，环保防灾小勇士，养成教育彭子芳，高雄线上读书会，挑战达人庄佩珍雅，庄佩珍，一次爱的鼓励给我们所有顺口溜团队爱的鼓励，拜拜，来。
Please give everybody a round of applause with me. Thank you.
好，所以
Guys are great.
我们想出很多的团队，所以大家没办法想。有人问我说：“天哪，你到底怎么去记这么多的团队？”我们现在团队是近300人，分在各组不同的地方。
Do you know how many people in our team?
笔译团队10个笔译。
Close to 300 people. So every Wednesday, there are almost 300 people behind the scene participate to make this program work.
下载对的，不要倒错了。在我看来哦，我看那个柬埔寨的文章，泰国跟辽国怎么都长得很像啊。 真的很像，我真的不懂。好，
It's sometimes kind of hard and it's confused. I'm also confused by the Cambodian and the Thailand document. They all look similar to me.
我们提前问人家，那时候的疫情还没有这样子的趋缓，所以大家选择了云端。所以改天吧，我们再来看看明哲师兄。明哲师兄是谁？思想起。 明哲师兄跟瑞碧师姐今天会上线，瑞碧师姐会最后才会出现。
Let's look at who Brother Mingze is, and his wife, Sister Ruibi, will join us later.
有我们的文编，15位文编，这位文编是谁？
This is the beautiful flyer describing their presentation, and these are our flyer production team. And these are the publication team. Let's look at Brother Mingze, and here's a report from Taipei TV. That's the Taipei annual blessing. He's a successful businessman. He tried all kinds of delicacy before, and one day when he was killing the eel bit him very, very hard. And from that point on, he became a vegetarian and also joined Tzu Chi volunteers to do environmental protection work, recycling work. Here is an opera about how the eel bit him. And he followed Master Zheng Yan and became a very successful Tzu Chi volunteer, and this is all his recycling work he's doing. And he tried to take care of his career and his calling in Tzu Chi. Within Tzu Chi, we're doing good deeds, and actually we earned a lot of things and affirmation from everyone. Yeah, he used to love delicacies, all kind of good things. And because one day he was bitten by an eel, he became a vegetarian. It's a very famous story. Today, he's not going to talk about vegetarianism, but he's going to tell us about something else. And he's got 7 nice trucks, nice cars. And after he joined Tzu Chi, he has been living a simpler life. And this is Sister Xingjuan introducing him. With a good karma, he joined the good organization, Tzu Chi. Master said, your car is expensive and the parking tickets are expensive. So why don't you reduce your 7 cars to less number of cars? And he agreed. And he's a very good follower of Master Zheng Yan. So he's not talking about reducing his car and living a simpler life today. He's going to talk about other things. Right now, he's the leader for all the businessmen, volunteers in Tzu Chi. And these are the things he did within his company. He's doing the COVID testing station. He's promoting vegetarianism. Now you can see Brother Mingze is talking about how the hospital staffs are saving the lives of COVID patients, and he and his employees are also trying to do their parts. Master is recognizing the honorary board members, and they're also doing their best to promote vegetarianism. Now we're going to lead the movie on, and we're going to introduce Brother Mingze. So Brother Mingze, can you see us here in Kaohsiung? Your good friend, the first seed in South Africa, is here. He came to Taiwan recently, and they came to Kaohsiung. And but since the Brother Mingze is going to be online, I thought maybe this brother is not going to be on site, but he still came. Brother Mingze and all family members online, I'm so happy to be here today. During the pandemic, I'm happy to be able to see folks online. I remember the sharing of Brother Mingze for the business entrepreneurs camp in Tzu Chi. His sharing was very memorable to me. I'm very respectful of you. I respect you very much. Thank you. I have introduced Brother Mingze more than once in my book club, and he is the rich among the richest. When business entrepreneurs met Tzu Chi, they are able to do a lot of things and made a lot of influences. Lots of energy. And now it's so cold here. We are doing winter distributions. There are some dark corners with people who need warmth. And Brother Mingze has contributed a lot in this area. So let's see what entrepreneurs, businessmen can do when they meet Tzu Chi. Let's welcome Brother Mingze from Taipei and his wife, Sister Ruibi. Let's applaud for Brother Mingze and his wife. Okay, you're on, Brother Mingze. Dear Master, Dharma Masters Edible, and all family members online, good day. Thanks for the opportunity to make this possible today. I'm very grateful for Sister Mei. I also want to say my best to family members in Kaohsiung. Some Kaohsiung Tzu Chi family members wanted to invite me for meals after the presentation here. Because of my schedule, I cannot come to Kaohsiung, so I have to meet everyone online. But I'm still grateful to all Kaohsiung brothers and sisters for your invitations. Now, I want to talk about 1991. There was a East China flood. It was the worst flood in centuries. Billions of people were hurt by the flood. Their homes were flushed by the flood. Their clothes and everything, their homes were flushed by the water. At that time, Master decided to start winter distribution and give them a helping hand. Motivated all Tzu Chi volunteers with this work. Let's look at the video first. 1991, July 15th, Master Zheng Yan invited everyone to help flood the survivors in China and organized the team to plan for the winter distribution. At that time, President Ma Ying-jeou in Taiwan was the leader of the group helping China. So he was very happy to see that Tzu Chi was going to help Chinese flood survivors. And brother, now these are what Chinese official Chou Pei was thinking about how much Tzu Chi volunteers did in 1991. There were two principles. Number one is direct. Number two is focused. So Tzu Chi gave us direct and focused assistance at that time. They went to the most difficult area, which is Quanjiao City in Anhui Province. And you can see Tzu Chi volunteers, even though the road was flooded, they took the boat there. After days and nights of hardship, they went to visited the flood-struck area. Originally, the Chinese officials welcomed us there, but then they realized, wow, we are really touching every single inch of the land. Tzu Chi volunteers forget about their sleep and their meals. Yeah, they work very, very hard to see everything they needed to see, and they wanted to touch everything that the folks there needed. You could see local folks were so happy to receive the winter distribution materials. At that time, Taiwan also had a 9/21 earthquake. We are not only helping earthquake survivors in Taiwan, but also flood survivors in China. And the Chinese folks hoped that we could stay there and help them. That's how we started the first organization in China, Suzhou, in 2010. And we are very grateful for Tzu Chi to come over here to start an office. And Tzu Chi led the help of Chinese folks. Yeah, ever since 1991, Tzu Chi volunteers and helps have stayed. The empathy of putting self in others' shoes and the love and respect for flood survivors. Before the survivors put on cotton padded jackets, Master wouldn't wear winter clothes to guard against the cold. You saw in the film that Tzu Chi volunteers did the traditional winter distribution, and it has been 30 years now. We are very grateful for Tzu Chi volunteers' devotion and Master Zheng Yan's direction and leadership. We're not only to go there to help them, to solve their problem, but we also need to give them love and respect with our heart. We're not only to give them material help, but also bringing them the Tzu Chi spirit and teamwork. And the Tzu Chi philosophy touched them. That's why we were able to start the Suzhou office, which is the first nonprofit office established in China. From out of China. In 1991, there was a lot of difficulties for Tzu Chi in Taiwan to help flood survivors in China. There were lots of barriers. There was no direct communication, no direct mails, no direct traffic. Every inch was a difficult step. But Tzu Chi's spirit, under the master's teaching, we were able to move forward. We solved the problems of travel. We also solved the problems of the materials preparation. They didn't have any highway. Yeah, the roads were very narrow. How could we distribute lots of materials quickly to the hands of the flood survivors? In 1991, their trains were slow and old. It takes days and nights to move the materials there. And also the weather of snow and the transportation barriers, but under the wisdom and the kindness of Tzu Chi volunteers, we solved all the problems one by one. At that time, the temperature in China was about 10 degrees centigrade. When Master learned that they were in such a cold weather, they were suffering from the coldness. And at that time, Taiwan was getting a little cold. And Master would not add winter clothes to guard against the cold. Master wouldn't wear winter clothes. She wanted to wait until the survivors were able to put on their cotton padded jackets. And this compassion has deepened the roots of Tzu Chi in China. The causes and conditions for me to join the team is under Master's kind teaching. I was asked to help with getting the materials ready for the winter distribution in 1991. To help the other brothers. So Master wanted me to help providing the best quality to save the energy and reduce carbon emissions and recruit bodhisattvas in China. Yeah, so when we do distribution, we want to give them the very best. You have to give them the things that you like the most and you want the most. The second advice from Master is to save the energy and reduce carbon emissions. We're not only helping the local survivors, we also want to do it in an environmental friendly way. Master also would like us to promote energy saving and reduction of carbon emissions to conserve the energy. The third advice from Master is to recruit more bodhisattvas in China and in Taiwan. In these three advices, number one is easy because I've been in this materials I've been in this business for a long time. So these are all the things I did. And this is the sun never sets in the world of Tzu Chi. We pull the wisdom for mutual benefit. We cooperate with all recycling stations. The Tzu Chi world where the sun never sets, local volunteers, charity care has plowed deeply. They started home visits and assessments in summer to understand the type and quality of winter supplies needed. That's how we prepare. Custom-made love. We use environment-friendly vests, scarves, and windproof thick blankets newly developed specifically for the severely cold regions. Yeah, since China is so big, the coldest area is very, very cold. That's why we had the wind-proof thick blankets and the newly developed specifically for the severely cold regions. And for Tibet Plateau, yeah, we use the thickest newly developed blankets. The changes and constants in 30 years. In these 30 years, our hearts have never changed. Our loving kindness, compassion, joy, equanimity, and our care for the local folks have not changed. They are constant. The things are changing is how we went deeply into villages and towns. We touched wider areas. We also did local undertakes, and we provide continuous care. We also had personalization of our relief materials distribution. And we touched local folks there, and then we developed more local Tzu Chi volunteers. Yeah. Starting from 2015, the local volunteers have been taking over the winter distribution of relief materials. Yeah, we made sure our materials are personalized to fit their individual needs. Our spirit has not changed in 30 years, but the materials we have changed to fit the local needs. We perfect the quality that's already outstanding. We also gather a group to solve problems, and we reach common understanding with suppliers. Yeah, at that time, even if you have money, you couldn't buy the materials the survivors need. That's why we had to take these 3 steps to provide such a large quantity of materials with good quality. We want to perfect the quality that's already outstanding. I gathered a group of volunteers and experts to solve problems. So originally they thought Brother Mingze is going to change the original suppliers because their suppliers did not have high quality. Instead, I gathered a group to discuss the problems and solve the problems. So given that environmental conditions, we reached common understanding with the suppliers to provide good quality products. I confirmed their work, and I helped them to improve their quality.
这个配合是包括发放，他们都亲自参与。所以我认为这些厂商既然对我们的付出这么多，那我跟团队大家有共识，我们就不要跟动来解决问题啊。所以呢，这个大家都有共识。
Yeah. When I saw the suppliers who are willing to work with Tzu Chi volunteers and help with the distribution, so I decided to cooperate with them and using synergy to do the best thing. So we had better control of raw materials in order to guarantee the quality. We had rigorous purchase of raw materials. We also help suppliers to control product quality. Blankets and clothes, we start from the root cause and help the suppliers to improve their final product quality. Yeah, we also help them improve their manufacturing within their factories. So we form very good synergy with the suppliers. I shared my experiences with them. And help them to plan ahead and purchase their materials at least half a year before they need it. This way, they don't need to worry about supply deficit. So after the teamwork and with a common understanding, the supplier factories were able to help to cooperate and improve their quality tremendously. Save the energy and reduce carbon emissions. So we pull wisdom for mutual benefits. So shall we buy locally or shall we buy as one whole big group? So we cooperate with all recycling stations. Tzu Chi volunteers collected all recycled plastic bottles and made into threads, cloths, and blankets. This way we have a uniform quality and product. We have more than 130 distribution spots all over China. If we use the local suppliers in the 130 plus places, it's difficult to guarantee the consistent quality. And also, the distribution may be difficult. The logistics may be difficult. That's why we decided to cooperate with all recycling stations using all recycled plastic bottles and made into windproof warm blankets and clothes. Yeah, that's how we did with the common understanding. We were able to deliver quality products by saving the energy and reducing carbon emissions. Garbage turns into gold. Gold turns into love. Love changes into clean stream. clean stream circles the whole world. You could see recycling volunteers were collecting the recycled water bottles. They used to sell the recycled bottles and make donations for the Zhicheng Charity Fund. Now we are just buying these recycled bottles from here and made into raw materials for environment-friendly vests and blankets. So every year, the recycled materials have increased 20%, and the recycling volunteers have increased 20% every year. You can see the picture where Ugly Alley becomes clean Dharma Field. Grandma He Jiuli is the oldest environmental protection volunteer in Quanzhou. She is 96 years old. Very touching. What a role model. She is a wonderful disciple of Master. Now, you have only 2 minutes. Continuous improvement of winter clothes to give folks what they need and want. And you look at the color and the materials, and these are windproof, rainproof, and snowproof. We want to pass on the principle of love. In addition to give folks the materials they need and want, we want to pass on the principle of respecting the sky and loving the earth and saving the environment. Purchased under the pandemic, although going abroad was difficult, still had to visit suppliers in China in order to control product quality and keep good relations with suppliers. You can see I traveled during the pandemic in order to control product quality and keep good relations with our suppliers. And this quarantine for me to visit the area with pandemic. And I was able to get brothers there to help. 2 round trips of high-speed rail, 16 hours and 2,500 kilometers. This year we had a challenge that the cost of the materials have increased. It's very challenging. And it's wonderful that the suppliers are still willing to work with us to keep the winter distribution going. We also do online product inspection. We provide real-time suggestions and feedback because I could not personally visit in there. You can see this is how I provided real-time suggestion and feedback online. This shows the 2 round trips of high-speed rail, 16 hours and 2,500 kilometers. The purchase team traveled from Shanghai to Shangqiu and Hefei. After final inspection, they deliver the products. The environment-friendly jackets. This year, material quality is even better. Real-time tests of waterproof shows obvious waterproof quality. And the comforter, we weigh and register the padding. We examine the warp and the woof and the fusion of cotton wadding. To provide the best quality of comforter. The environment-friendly cotton underwear. There was still real-time inspection of cloth weight after the sample cloth was supplied before production. We want to deliver gratitude, respect, and love. And we want to spread this to China. We are very grateful for the local survivors and all people involved who were helping us to make 1991 distribution possible and started the tradition of helping people in need for 30 years. That's how we were able to establish our first office in Suzhou, in China. Yeah, the 3 words, gratitude, respect, love, Master taught us, are very, very important. Tzu Chi volunteers need to remember this when we deal with people, with matter, and things. I'm very grateful for your listening. Now, I'm going to ask my wife, Ruibi, Sister Ruibi, Sister Li Ruibi is here. Family members from Kaohsiung and all over the world, greetings. Very grateful for saying some words with you. Sorry we cannot go to Kaohsiung personally, but we want to thank you for your kind invitation and we want to be there in person soon in the future. Now, okay. Now, gratitude, respect, and love. With love in our heart, everyone will love us. Everyone knows about Brother Mingze's story with the eel. And also, he sold his 7 cars. Where did the money go? Of course, he went to the donation to Tzu Chi. Let's applaud for Brother Mingze and Sister Ruibi. Now we learn that the delivering warmth to China in the cold winter is starting from Brother Mingze. Now we know you have started this. Even though you only had 1 shot of COVID vaccine, you are still doing so many things. We're very grateful to you. Hey. 而我们高雄的梅兰师姐说，遇见人品典范实业家明哲师兄，7台名车换1车，以身作则，华东救灾，以一份同理心，将心比心，寒冬之际。So there are now a few comments we're seeing online of Brother Mingze, who just shared a moment ago. 你求菩萨，不如你来做人间菩萨，做到了千手千眼人间菩萨，真是人中极品的菩萨。One comment says, as opposed to praying to the bodhisattvas, we ourselves can be the bodhisattvas and bring kindness and love to the world.
So a lot of our comments, thank you for giving blessings and encouragement to our speakers. There are even viewers online saying that as our speakers are speaking, they are diligently taking notes on their own.
线上读税让您认识这位大菩萨，所以大陆的陈凯就说感恩明哲师兄的分享，寒冬送暖，真的很暖人心哈。所以我们
Another viewer is saying thank you for Brother Mingze's sharing about sending warmth in the cold of winter, and it really warmed his heart to hear these stories.
盛开花，菩提林立在中华。 他写的是简体字，所以明哲师兄、瑞碧师姐，我因为做直播，简体字也越快，越看越熟悉哦，所以非常感恩啊。总之，谢谢大家每一位这边哦。
Once again,
为您做见证。他说：“陈明
okay.
哲师兄啊，
Sister Janet Yao.
你会看到个个都是暖心的大菩萨，明哲师兄更是赞叹。”
Also is sharing her understanding of Brother Mingze, saying that he certainly doesn't lose even in comparison to younger folks in the energy and spirit that he brings. So once again, thank you to Brother Mingze and Sister Ruibi. And our brother here has this this big thumbs up sign to show his encouragement as well. Thank you, everyone. And hoping next time our speakers can come actually to our live stage here. All right, so the next section is going to be our activity section.
疫苗，所以请大家记记爱心，齐心防疫，加入这样子的一个爱心疫苗的行列，大家感恩哦，所有的钱哦，所有。
So we're also driving a fundraising campaign right now, which all of the donations that we receive will go directly to purchasing the vaccines that Zhicheng has committed to purchasing. All right, good morning, everyone. Everybody, let's stand up together and move our bodies. Really happy to see everyone join. And everyone who's online, very good to see you as well. So we're going to actually start today with the hand washing song. Now, everyone remember to keep your masks on and to always diligently wash your hands. All right, so take out your hands, put on your mask. Let's do this together. Turn on the faucet and turn it back off. Dry your hands after you wash them. Diligently wash your hands before you eat. And wash your hands after you return home. Don't unnecessarily touch your eyes, ears, mouth, nose, or face. And remember the 7 steps of washing your hands. Start with the palms of your hands, go to the back of your hands, clean your fingers, knuckles against your palm, your thumb, your fingertips and nails pushing against your palm, and then your wrists. Also, put on your mask when there are a lot of people, when you are entering an enclosed space. Hold your mask neatly when not using it, and put it in your pocket or bag. And again, remember the 7 steps of washing your hands. All right, have you learned it? We are going to speed it up now. And it is the same as before. Just a repeat of earlier. I will let you listen, watch, and follow along. 洗手记得7步骤，内外夹攻大力丸，
人多时候戴口罩，进入密闭空间也戴口罩，不要用时会折好，乖乖放口袋。
接下来我们要继续再来动一动哦。我们接下来的歌曲分享是彩色的翅膀，来，身体自然。
All right, and our next song is Wings of Color. And be sure to follow along. No matter how long the road is, it's not too late as long as you take the first step now. No matter how far away a dream may seem, as long as you're steadfast in making it a reality, you do not need to fear any obstacles along the way. As long as you continue flying forward, you will not leave behind regret. As long as you hold one another's hand, you will not be lonely. Even if there is no wind in the sky, you still have to continue flying. Because I have a pair of wings that are full of color. Even when I face 1,000 mountains, I will not lose my direction, because I have you by my side. All right, we're gonna repeat once more, so I'll let you follow along. All right, so let's follow along and stretch. Slowly pull your body to your right. Be sure to breathe back up to center, then to the other side, and then back to center. Arms apart. Pull your body forward and exhale, then back up. Breathe in, and then breathe out. Back up again, and then back to the middle. Let's all say thank you to each other. All right, everyone, please be seated. I actually want to talk about the clothes that they're wearing today. You can see this, it looks like a jacket that they have. This year's version actually has a hood and is really comfortable to wear. Especially as we get into winter, this is a great jacket that we can look into as well. And again, all the funds that we get will go towards purchasing the doses of vaccines that Zicheng has committed to purchase for Taiwan.
Brother Chen is truly carrying master's mission and vision for a better tomorrow.
So more comments from viewers around the world for Brother Mingze earlier. And the comment was in English, so I'll let you listen to that.
明哲师兄真的是这样如此的带着这样的一个任务哈，然后来保护这个地球，保护这个下一代。那同时他也更去了解到对我们毯子这个衣服这个部分的故事更多。屏东的李正任师兄就说，明哲师兄用你的专业让大陆的乡亲有更好的品质用品，用感恩、尊重、爱的精神传播大爱的精神，是我们学习的榜样。加拿大的南比尔说，感恩明哲师兄以传递大爱的力量，寒冬送暖，感恩暖心的人间菩萨明哲师兄。越到最后，爱到最后。
We have viewers from Pingdong, which is in southern Taiwan, and in Canada, who are also sharing that they were very touched by his stories and his bringing love and warmth to others.
很多人为他圈粉的人，所以赶快按赞、转分享，邀约更多的家
And
人。
then other comments for Brother Zhao, who shared earlier as well. So again, thank you to our activities team. Let's go back to our PowerPoint and take a look at, on the left, Sister Lingjun, sharing about her contributions, or rather how she's grateful for the opportunity to help with the study group.
军硕主任的一个分享也让我们受用不少。而之间呢，你觉得柳娟师姐哈，她其实是
and is sharing from another sister, also from China, on the right as well, Sister, I believe, Wang Hui.
是在隔离的，你也去想，如果是自己会是怎么样的一个状况？可是他却如此的安住，用上人的法，他非常感恩高雄线上读书会。而我们的王慧，他讲的是天空会微笑，逆境好修行。当然讲的就是有关于我们叶灯宪师兄这一个部分。那跟前面的善效应的家人一样，都是在讲110天，还有核酸检测是54次，这是多么不容易，但是他做出了好榜样，而且借由3心2意来提醒自己。
The Sister Wang Hui is sharing about, I believe, one of our earlier, either one of the earlier speakers or one of our Ciji family members, and sharing about his difficult experiences and how he had been such a role model for others. It was Brother Ye.
我们2个都属于鸡婆的人哈，所以我们总要有点鸡婆，稍微勇敢，不怕麻烦，坚持好事做到。
And then here we have Brother Victor and Sister Janet sharing as well.
加上呢禁书，我发现我们都属于鸡婆的，就是做事很积极，要串联很多人。
Who also lead a segment in this online study group. It is a radio broadcast, or rather just a radio broadcast program that we'll be talking about in just a minute. They're sharing that they're so grateful for the opportunity every week to share this positive energy around the world. All right, so let's actually invite Brother Victor and Sister Janet to share about this radio program. Master, Dharma Masters Thibaut, and everyone from around the world. Hi, everyone. My name is Victor Jie, and I am Janet Yao. Today, let's actually share with everyone about the Da'ai online radio program. Next week is actually the 36th anniversary of the radio station, or Da'ai online radio. And let's take a video of last year at the 35th anniversary of the Da'ai radio program. Seems to be a little bit of echo. This video is a video of blessings by the various hosts of the I Online Radio.
你们的影音，好，你先关你的麦克风，我才能讲话。好，时间，我们现在发现一个问题哦。
So Sister Mayun right here is sharing that, hey, there's a lot of echo.
结果正因为层层相叠以后，整个就混在一起。那我不知道你那边的设备，因为我觉得你应该是很多机器，全部可能要静音。就是你这一次是有影音的，就造成你一放影音的时候是层层相叠。您知道我意思吗？好，那我要关我麦克风了，换你那边处理，感恩。
好，那我继续。有一次，我们因为要制作 爱之海默症的主题来做采访报道。
So the echo.
OK，停。好，实际这样好不好？你先关你的麦克风。
Again, Sister Mayun is trying to help troubleshoot the issue.
关掉你的麦克风，对。我在想，我们这中间应该，因为你们就是非常厉害的在这个部分。可是，如果这10分钟用这样子的话，我们全球都听不清楚。所以我们先暂且这个单元先跳过去，然后等一下我们私下联络看看。那也或许这个单元。
So we want to make sure that our speakers can hear you clearly. So let's maybe push out this program and see if we have the opportunity maybe next week or another time we can get back to this program. But right now, with all of the echo, we can't really hear what's going on. Now, both Sister Janet and Brother Victor are on our team, so anytime we can bring them back, but don't know why right now we seem to have some technical issues. So let's give them a round of applause and thank them. Don't be discouraged. This is how our team operates. Whenever we face a problem, we'll always find a way to solve that problem to make things even better next time. Now we're going to jump to Taipei.
So today we have Superintendent Chao of Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital joining us today on continuation of the topic that love is the greatest medicine in the world. And from you can see here that Superintendent Chao, his presentation, every time when we have a publication or a little flyer out, we need to let you know who are our editors. And this is from Sister Ruibi in our Kaohsiung team. Well, Sister Ruibi originally lives in Taipei, but as she's married and moved to Kaohsiung, her parents said to her that once you come to Kaohsiung, you have to join the online study group. And so she became very curious as to why so many people are telling her to join the team. So now she's part of our editing team, and then this is our artistic team. So from here, from what you can see earlier, we were promoting Dai technology here as part of our fundraising efforts. But at our first stop, let's come to the store in Taipei, where Superintendent Chao has taken his staff joining on the promotion and to help spread the love. And from your left-hand side, you can see what he's promoting. These are the Jingsi power drinks. And these are really good products because we have a spokesperson who is our superintendent, but he's also a user himself. And now we have to congratulate Superintendent Zhao, who have recently awarded an award, including many of medical volunteers. So let's see. Let's see from Superintendent Zhao. So during the time of pandemic, Taipei City Hospital has the largest collection of COVID positive cases. So the government of Republic of Taiwan has awarded Superintendent Zhao for his contribution. So from here, we can see the 3 award winners who had this honor. And Superintendent Zhao was here last year as well. And last time we were inviting everyone to join in the bamboo bank donations. Why we have that thought is because if you ever read his book, you will know that from the difficulties that he sees, he'll realize that it becomes his responsibility. And in order to provide care, you have to shrink oneself so that other people do not feel imposed. So instead of giving him any gifts or caring for his patients, he invited all his patients to join in on the bamboo banks. And we can also know his vegetarian promotions he's also a very powerful spokesperson for the vegetarian diet. And let me tell you, this have to be promoted by a doctor. Now we have more power, more influence. So when they're resting, we will share with them ways that they can start trying adopting a vegetarian diet. So I'm sorry, my Taiwanese is not that good, so I need to have a little translation here. But a lot of people who became infected, a lot of them become severe cases. But if they have adopted a vegetarian diet, they have a 70% less chance of developing severe symptoms. So from here, you can see that he's taking every opportunity he can in the hospital to promote the health of all his patients. So for your stomach problems, adopting a vegetarian diet will really help. So you should start trying a vegetarian diet and try a minimum of 3 months before, and you'll definitely see a result. So see, he is such a caring person that caring about the overall health of his patients. Now, at the same time, he's also coming into the campus to help administer vaccines to the students. So Tzu Hospital have dispatched a team of pediatric doctors as well as nurse practitioners who came to the local schools to help administer COVID vaccines to these students. So if I remember correctly, right, we have administered 300,000 vaccines, doses of vaccine. And these are clips of patients in the COVID isolation ward. So when the emergency room is busy, all the COVID positive patients are put directly into the isolation ward. So every moment we have to save them, it increases our chance. So the numbers doesn't matter, but rather is what we have learned about providing it prompt care. That's what we learned from this pandemic. So this book, Love is the Best Medicine in the World, I strongly recommend that you get a copy of it. And as we can see during this pandemic, his responsibility is truly heavy. His burden is really heavy. But through his sharings, that we have noticed that he has put all his effort into taking every case. Not only did he prevented cross contaminations or any in-hospital transfer of the COVID patients, but at the same time helped to maintain and keep the highest number of positive patients admitted into a hospital. So this morning, Superintendent Chao was in Taoyuan meeting Master Zheng Yan, and now he's back in Taipei joining us. So Superintendent, usually when you come, this is your spot. Hope that next time you're able to come in person and stand right here and share with everyone. So let us give our hand and welcome him and to share his positive energy with us. To the team of the study group and all our listeners, City family, hope you all had a good day. First, I'd like to express my gratitude of those who are translating for me. How well I present really depends up to you. So I'm really grateful that Sister Meiyun has all that energy, including all that preparations, the introductions. She really put in a whole lot of efforts, even including my schedule today. Now, I know time is of an essence, so let's go straight into our topic today. Now, in this pandemic, it's like a tsunami, came all suddenly. From our first patient, May 1st, until the 10th of October, we have taken care of 906 COVID-19 patients. In the process, I think the word care can most represent the thought and the process of our staff. The first is to care about these patients, whether it is their mental state, their physical state, even their family. How we put that into a priority as we treat them. Now, at that time, most of our staff have only received one dose of vaccine. So everyone have been really careful not to become a source of an outbreak. As we see many hospitals, even though they were really mindful, there were still accidents that happened. But fortunately, in Taipei Tzu Hospital, everyone has been safe and not to worry. From the video you see earlier, day and night, the number of patients keep transferred to the hospital. Even in our chat group, there are so many cries for help from hospitals because many places they couldn't accommodate them. There are patients that need dialysis. There's some that has fainting on the floor. Some who could barely hold a conversation and wouldn't stop coughing. there are some elderly patients who had continuous fever for days. There are so many of these reports on our chat group. Even though we were prepared at that time, so we were prepared for this outbreak. So when we see these chats, see these calls for help, we notice that if we are able to accept one extra patient, we may be able to save one more life. So within a very short time, we had reduced our patient load, clear out the ward, and prepare it and transform it into an isolation ward. And to prevent cross-contamination, we had to purchase new equipment, move all the existing beds out, and even buy new trash cans to accommodate the waste. In order to effectively monitor these patients, there are a lot of preparations, even constructions, remodeling that had to be done to make these wards functional. There were 32 beds that had to be converted into a negative pressure isolation beds. It was during time of pandemic. It was really difficult to find contractors, because as everyone is in lockdown, who will want to come and do constructions for you. So I was really grateful for our volunteers. And I'm also very grateful for our staff who had to wear these isolation gowns. And especially in the summertime, these are it's very hot. And everyone, after they take out the gowns, they were soaked in there. And as we prepare our outdoor testing stations, we have the volunteers who put in their efforts and able to complete the stations within 2 days. As soon as we open, we see a long line of patients waiting for to get tested, even up to 400 people a day waiting in line. So to accommodate the number of people who have been tested positive, the new Taipei city government has contacted hospitals and contacted hotels and convert them into isolation hospitals. So there were all sorts of preparations, including our information sharing, our flows, as well as cooperation with policemen. At the time, no one knew each other. We were kind of a mishmash of people. So I asked everyone, and I promised them that I would lead them safely through this process. None of these people at that time were vaccinated, even the police, because they were unfamiliar with the virus, and they're unfamiliar with the disease. So our first day when we opened, we accepted 111 patients. And among them, there were 14 of them who are in severe cases that need to be immediately transferred to the hospital for intubation. So regardless whether it is in the hotel or in the hospital, we have seen many severe cases. And we have provided them with vegetarian meals, including prayers during the noontime, and everyone sincerely and piously prayed that this would be a smooth transition. So we even went to the Jingsi halls locally to administer vaccines once we had them available. And so the staff at our hospital have endless amount of things to do. Initially, they were administering for elderly who are over 85 years old. We are very concerned that they have any side effects and feeling ill afterwards. From this drawing here, we can see our nurse practitioners who had kneeled down on the ground using a very approachable gesture to administer vaccine for the elderly. This is also a picture from our posters of our annual blessing ceremony. Every day during the pandemic, the patient number keep rising. At a point, it got up to 500-600 patients a day. Each of the patients that came, no visitors were allowed, no family were allowed. So there's one story of Grandpa Chu who was hard of hearing. His wife, because of joint surgeries, was staying at home. So Grandpa Chu wanted to get some steamed buns for his wife, and so went to the Longshan Temple station area, which unfortunately was also a red zone for the pandemic. And unfortunately, he became infected. And despite all the effort, even with intubation, because of the because of his old age, he passed on. But just before he passed, the family had recorded many words of encouragement and play it for the grandpa to hear. So at that time, a lot of these elderly who were admitted, they have comorbidities. When they came, they asked that they not to be intubated, not to be resuscitated, and as such, that a lot of them would suddenly just pass away. His son was feeling really, who was also positive and staying next to his father. He felt really bad himself because he thought he gave it to his father. But with the encouragement of our staff, he was fortunate to recover. Some of the elderly patients, they're not used to sleeping in beds. They're used more to sleep on the floor. So we had to make certain accommodations and preparing the beds on the ground for them. At that time, because intensive care units were in high demand, were in short supply, a lot of patients, as soon as their intubation was removed, they asked if they can give the bed to other people. And some of the patients were very eager. They were very eager to let other patients who have the bed because they themselves have experienced the wait for a hospital bed while they were in the emergency room. So they know what the patients who are waiting, for the people who are waiting, they're feeling. And one of the cases, Grandma Liu, who had suffered mild dementia, initially she was very belligerent. She would spit at the nurses or even shout at them. Even though they were treated like that, the nurses also care for them, still care for her, and as if they're real family members. So on the day when she's ready to be discharged, she felt really bad that I thought, and she said that I thought when you said that I can go home, it means I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna pass away. So a lot of the patients here, because they were in isolations, they were unsure of what they would feel. I mean, they were unsure of what the tomorrow will bring to them, and they have no way of communicating with them. So their mental states, a lot of them are very emotional. They're not very stable. For example, one of this patient here, she had some mental disorder, who was initially in a rehab center, but was discharged and sent home. But 2 days after being discharged, her mother, the caretaker, all three of them were tested positive. So immediately we accepted her at the hospital, but the disease progressed really fast. And despite the efforts of the hospital team, she still passed away at the end. But due to regulations, those who die of COVID will have to be cremated within 24 hours. So her sister was pleading with the staff team, asking if they could take a picture for her and clean her up so she can take a picture. And so our staff ended up cleaning her up and dressing her up and took a picture and shared with her sister. And here is a 42-year-old male who have learned that his father just passed away at a different hospital. He started bawling, and because he lost his mother when he was 3 years old, and he has been growing up with his father. 7 to 8 years ago, he has even donated his liver for his father. But unfortunately, his father was unable to survive the coronavirus. So with the encouragement of our staff team, ultimately he made a full recovery and has showed that he's very so grateful for everyone's care. And this young patient, who's 27 years old, who's also transferred from a rehab center. Even though he's 27 years old, he only has a mental capacity about a 6-year. He only has a capacity about a 10-year-old. And because of kidney disease, he needed to be on dialysis, and he hadn't had dialysis in a while, so he is very weak. So we had to do that. So in order to help him, we have made the accommodations, and so we do dialysis in the ward with the mobile machinery. The important thing is to connect with clean RO water, reverse osmosis treated water. Now, fortunately, he was safe at the end. He recovered at the end. Every time there's patients needing dialysis, our nurses would treat them just like their patient, just as their family. Like one of the nurses who had a son about the same age. So when he's in dialysis, the nurse will come and talk to them, help bathe him, and eventually they have made that connection. Finally, we found his father, and the patient was safely discharged from the hospital. Now, this is a 32-year-old patient who's also 32 weeks pregnant. Due to COVID, she had to undergo emergency C-section under intubation. His other families, because of they're in isolation in other hospitals as well. Some of them are even connected to an oxygen tank. They can't come and take care of her at the hospital. So we have made a video conference and promised that we will take care of her. Now, with everyone's blessing, we fortunately brought a baby girl to this world. Now, because of the preterm birth, we were unsure whether the baby will make it. So we had a recording from the mother and play it next to the baby. And we were sharing the image with iPad, so at least the mother can see the baby while in isolation. Fortunately for both of them, they made a full recovery and were discharged from the hospital. They had made the decision initially that if it's very dire, please focus on saving the baby. But fortunately for both of them, they get to go home together. Now, Mr. Chen, who's 49 years old, he's also a dialysis patient, and his mother was infected during dialysis. So he himself was infected. Now, because of the he's a very heavy person, and he didn't even know he has diabetes until he's admitted to the hospital. And because of the comorbidities, has been some very severe situations. He even developed septicemia. We have decided to use a filtration to help clear out the toxins within his blood. Fortunately for him, he's able to recover and when he's ready to be discharged, he saw so many patients, so many nurses. He didn't even know why they're there, and everyone's so happy to see him. He said that in the month and a half, he's kind of in a delirious state. He only remembered that one of the doctors who came to take care of him wipe his tears, and the nurses would even wipe him clean as he has suffered from diarrhea. So when he finally woke up, everyone's so happy to see him. But because of being bedridden for a month and a half, when he tried to get off the bed, he noticed that he couldn't stand up. So his legs are unable to support himself. Now, seeing that in our video, the nurses quickly rushed in and brought him back to bed. So, even though both him and his family are pious Christians, they didn't know that they didn't even know that there's a hospital in Shijing. He said that he remembered his father used to donate $300 a month to help build a Hualien hospital. So he vowed that he would make the donation to help other people as well. So starting in June, we can start to see a downward trend in new cases. And even though Tzu is not the biggest hospital in Taiwan, Tzu was the hospital that accepted the most number of COVID patients. And it's all because we care about each of the patients. Out of the number of patients, the number of COVID cases, a tenth of them were in Taipei City. So sometimes even the kids, even though they didn't have any severe cases, if they were allowed to roam around, they would eventually affect other people. So they were so even kids were in isolation. Our nurses, in order to take care of the kids, were playing games with them. They even made this cake and dessert to help them, to encourage them to exercise and for rehab. Our most severe cases was Mr. Cao, who's 60 years old. He's a very severe case. He's been intubated for a long time, and we were wondering if he's unable to recover. He's only 60 years old, but because of the severity, we're worried that he might be bedridden for the rest of his life. So we tried really hard to get him off the mechanical lungs. But even as he's discharged, he can't go home because his family members couldn't take care of him. And even his girlfriend couldn't take care of him. So with the rehab center, with the help of the rehab team, he was able to stand up, walk on his own, and even eat and talk. And that he's finally ready after 4 months of hospital stay. He's finally ready to go home. So at that time, our nurses, our medical staff, had to try really hard to help turn the patients because positions affect how oxygen gets distributed across the body. And whether it is trying to feed them or help them go to the bathroom or wash their hair, even blow dry their hair, that process can take about an hour. So despite so many things to do, they were still well cared for. Each of these tasks were still well taken care of by the staff. Many of the patients who transferred from rehab centers have bed sores because they were bedridden for such a long time. Nobody would turn them. So fortunately, that we have no outbreaks in our hospital is because everyone, regardless of their professional training, were helping to maintain the safety of everyone else. In this one case here, he is very unstable and in isolation. He tried to break out of their isolation ward. He torn down the locks. And eventually we got in contact with his sister, who couldn't believe that with the care of our nursing staff that his brother would stay still and stay in the isolation ward. Now, I believe he probably was a very kind-hearted individual as well, but because of the environment he grew up in, he had became more belligerent. Now, in this case with the grandma, we seem to lose her on video, but it turns out she was hiding under the bed. Now, in order to keep her staying in bed, we had to prepare almost like a raft to keep her. And there's also another grandma who's very anxious. She tried to break away, tried to escape from the hospital. Her family said that as long as she feels there's somebody with her, she will stay still and she'll feel calm. So our staff had dressed up a blow-up doll and set it next to grandma's as if there's somebody with her. And that did work to keep her calm. when the patients are ready to be discharged, so many of them have shared their gratitude. They're very grateful. They bowed in the 90 degrees sincerely to thank the staff for taking care of them. And they feel like they weren't in the hospital, they were at home. Now, this is one of the local officials who was who uh, came to salute us when he's ready to express their gratitude. So in this pandemic, it is not the numbers doesn't count. It's not how many patients we accepted. It is not how many personnel or how much we had spent, but rather how much love we give in the doing. It is to see how the staff in the Tzu Hospital were maintaining the vows and expectations of Master. And from that, that's what's most touching to me. So even though we had a lot to shoulder, but they also grown. They have shared their growth. They have learned that life is impermanent and they are willing to take care of other people. That even in the pandemic, they were still maintaining safe. So they're grateful for the leadership of Master. At the same time, I'd like to express my gratitude for the volunteers of Tzu. I may not know their names, but I'm also very, very touched that people in blue and white, each of them is a positive force, a positive energy. And with everyone's accompanying us, even with a master's, and with through the 44 days, nonstop, every day, there's TV conferences with the masters offering encouragement. Well, master's really worried about all of us, and she wouldn't ask us to dive in, but she knows that she constantly reminded us to keep safe. So when I was finally reported that everyone's safe, I can see that she's truly relieved to see that everyone was well cared for. So I want to share my thanks to all my translation team because I know the stories are kind of all over the place, as well as all the listeners and Tzu family. And thank you all, and let me bless you all. Thank you, Superintendent. So let's come back to our Kaohsiung, and we can see everyone with a thumbs up sign. And they were offering encouragement that on the Tzu path, we won't let go. We'll keep going. So let's show the video back. And Superintendent, every picture here is a story, but each of these stories you're so familiar with. There's so many links, so many chapters. If you're able to keep that in mind, that means you've been really mindful. And so far, he's the first one who's been being grateful for our translation team. So if you have read this book, then you would know that in there, all the advantages, all the good sides of the doctors, he has mentioned that. So he has been a very great guardian for everyone's heart in Tzu Hospital, as well as for the health of all Tzu volunteers. And with this Jingsi power drink that everyone can enjoy and live a healthy life.
I love from
且幽默风趣的赵院长，具人文情怀，充满正能量，绝对是令人敬仰的仁医典范，也是上人心目中最棒的理想人才。可是我跟你讲，现在我们看到赵有成院长都笑眯眯的，他可是将军，以前不太会笑的啦，哈，所以来到此地
let me tell you, Mr. Zhao is with a smile before he doesn't smile a lot.
师姐说，赵院长菩萨，你真的是赞赞赞哈！那很多人对您的回响哦，包括我们的长春的刘春之说，台北慈院赵有成院长真是上人的好弟子。
Mr. Zhao is very great.
带领同仁治病救人，更让心灵净化，以病人为家族，随机劝述，让人人心灵火光放光华，深是病人心中的
Dr. Zhao is really doing his job to go along with the hospital staffs to help people through this pandemic period.
所以我们再次挥手跟我们的院长，我们明年见，希望您来主场，感恩院长，感恩。好，接下来就是我们棒棒接力说慈济的时间。
See you next year, Dr. Zhao.
常驻师父以及全球的法亲家人，大家好。记得培训圆圆回花莲寻根。
This is Chen Susan. I remember one time when I went back to Hualien after the volunteer training, I was attending a boat master's session. Master Qing shared with us about the boat master's daily practices. Not only they have certain duty, but they also need to take turn to bear the responsibility of certain activity in a boat. For instance, one who is in charge of the kitchen, who will need enough manpower to do it. This is a real test for how to get along with others in everyday life in a boat. If good causes were created daily, then it will be easier to do it. I took this lesson serious and I remember it. In August, the pandemic situation is getting improved. We have held several training sessions at our Jinsi Hall for volunteers. I'm the coordinator for this project. I have attended all the training sessions. I thought that I have learned all the skill I can really do some contributions after schools begin. You never know that the Education Bureau of Government announced that after all the school begins, those volunteers, whoever want to provide services at school, must show the vaccination completion certification. This is really a big change to those who plan to go to school to provide the training to students, because several of us, including me, have not taken the vaccination shot yet. We cannot go into the school campus. Due to the tight schedule, I have to announce in the group, invite those who is qualified volunteers to join the project. Maybe I have good image among other volunteers, so I got good responses from volunteers. After I have gotten enough volunteers, so we can start intensive training in school for students. I really appreciate the support from all the volunteers, quickly relieve the risk. And we can finish the job of going to school to teach the students how to use the Gamma platform entering the Shiji world to learn about the skill and the knowledges about the environmental protection, disaster relief, and how to protect oneself in the pandemic age. After this experience, I can feel deeply we must make good cause with people. I also learned that we do things by oneself, we shall find impermanence. If we do things together with other people, then we shall all do things last longer. This is Zhang Guizi. Because we have perseverance, so we see hope. I'm really touched and appreciated from the bottom of my heart at the June 19 Kaohsiung Jinsi Hall turned to the venue for people who want to take the vaccination for COVID-19. I started the responsibility to distribute small gifts at station at Jinsi Hall. Whenever there is vaccination event, I'm always there to do the job. Originally, I arranged my vacation from my job till the end of September so I can do my volunteer work at Jinsi Hall. So I was about to finish my vacation soon, but on October 14th, one of the city community has fire eruption became a disaster. The volunteer who is responsible for our Jinsi Hall project and also is responsible for the fire disaster project. So all the volunteers went to support the incident by day and night. So I have to stay at Jinsi Hall to continue my responsibility for the vaccination services. I remember Master Zheng Yan told us, we see all Buddhas. We sincerely respect the Buddhas. Everyone stay calm at present. Everyone is representing others, respecting others as Buddhas. Please come to the Jinsi. People come to the Jinsi Hall to take the vaccination are the future Buddha. Every time when I took a 90-degree bow to them and the respectful give them the small gift, and I'm very appreciative to their acceptance of the small gift. They aware my sincerity. When attending the warm talk session with Master Zheng Yan, I realized when I was certified, Master Zheng Yan gave us 2 thinking master red beans, and the vows are Buddha's heart, Master's will, for Buddhists, for sentient beings. Everything started from a small seed, from 1 to infinity. Small tree to big tree, from flower to get fruit and have seeds. So the thinking master being is the cause and effect result. Cherish the cause and the effect to go into the group of people, not because we insist, then we see hope, but hope insisted on the right thing.
Okay, so we're coming back to the segment that we skipped earlier. Now, because next week it is the 39th birthday of the Da'ai web radio. So this is our video from last year. With a grateful heart full of gratitude, I would like to share with you my growth in 35 years of Da'ai web radio. And because I've been able to join in the Da'ai radio, I have made a lot of positive connections. At the same time, all the friends, and we also had made a lot of connections with people across the world. So from there, we have learned many knowledge as well as a lot of positive stories. Even from the stories from the people sharing and also the segments that we have promoted, we have learned to care for ourselves as well as family and everyone around us. Our segment started from interviews, and then we hear from our listeners and from their suggestions, we have tweaked our segment and learned different ways, and also learn how to edit and do different technology as well as preparing for it. So from here, when you hear our segments, they could be a short couple minutes, but it could take us hours for us to prepare, to edit, and to interview. And these cannot be something that only one person can do. And all of us here, we all started from not knowing, and now we all learn to do together. And I'm very grateful for that's that heart-to-heart segment, so that to grow together and grow with everyone. Like Master says that Siji is a world that sun never sets. Where there's sun, there's Siji. Where there's love, there is our Da'ai radio. We brought light to the world and find listeners throughout the world. And we connected the heart of Siji volunteers across the world. So now I'm like to wish 35 years and even made the vows to wish for 53-year-old celebration. So I'm Victor, and I've made the vows to spread Jinsi's Dharma across to the world. So now I would like to share my congratulations and happy birthday to Dai Web Radio. My name is Jie Mingzhong, and I'd like to wish the happy birthday of 35 years. So from here, we can see that with love, that the stories that you hear are shared across the world. So in 1985, Siji World was the first radio stories. So next week will be the birthday of who started as a Siji World radio broadcast. In 1989, we finally had the first staff, who is Sister Ci Yun. Hi, if you remember me, I am your host, Ci Yun. Now, if you may know that, talking about radio shows, some of them, I've been doing this before you were born. Now, in 2005, because of the changes, we had moved our broadcast online and started a radio broadcast. Thai web radio is a space full of love and spending you every second with you. And if you just click on it, you can hear it from around the world. So Thai radio, Thai web radio, immediate all came up to the web. So from a segment here on our schedule, you can see the segment, Thai Heart to Heart, who is broadcasted from Northern California. Initially, we're starting in Northern California, and which is limited just to California. But now, if you click on it, the whole world can hear about the great love. In 2012, we have joined in our local radio stations, FM 92.3, and have a 1-hour segment every weekend. And from here, you can see the team. Now, because when we started, we didn't have good equipment, so our closets even recorded wrapped around a blanket. But with advances in technologies and equipment, we have been able to turn our home into a recording studio. We always carry a recording pen so that no matter where we go, we will conduct interviews everywhere. And now, as cell phone become popular, we started to digitally record and share our stories across the world. So now, we're sharing with all of you that this is a way to share love and goodness with voice. At first, we started with Chinese, helping to serve the local Chinese community, as well as share the Tziji's activities. Well, we have our reading segments, A Beauty in the World, as well as Master's teachings. Initially, we started in the radio channel, and then we have events onto online. So we have premieres, we have reruns, and then that if you can go online, you can listen to it. Now, every episode is like creating a craft with your hands. At first, I was doing interviews, and then eventually advanced to interviews and even preparing content and writing rundowns as well as flows, and also looking for video episodes that can help in the wisdom of body. And now we have to even edit and find video and finding music to help. So from initially we have a team, and now each of us were able to carry on the entire task. In 2019, we have tried different things. We even added video. So now it's not just a voice broadcast, but we also have a video broadcast. And because of the good affinities we have, we're able to join on the online study group in Kaohsiung. And with voice and video, we can share it with the world. We have covered topics like education, environmental protection, vegetarian, even healthy living. But the most important thing is to share about love and greatness. And so everyone around the world can watch and listen. And so creating an episode that is promoting goodness. So if you can help us promote, that way we can even spread it further. So love what you do what you love. And with love, we're so grateful to have you here.
好，他们那边要转机，你那边要转，他麦克风要关掉。时间你们麦克风关掉，对。
Okay, so now that we have reduced the echo, so you can see as we copy each other, we have created something better. Even though at first we don't know what we're doing, but eventually we have learned and advances and been better despite how old we are. You can see that even with even though they may not be, that their energy is still in the 20s. And everyone, after listening to them, everyone's in amazement how they were so eloquent and fluid. Even their stories were spread across in mainland and Taiwan. So this is a little preview. Next month, we will connect to our volunteers in France. And because one of the sisters has a husband who is French, she has now one of our written translator in French, as well as the deputy superintendent of the Hualien City Hospital, and also our Dia TV host. And it's one of the feedback from our readers, that they were finding the sense of the emotions and motivations through listening to the stories here. So with the help of technology, our powers are increased. And I'm so glad to have all of you today. So everyone.